Authorities find the stolen car connected to a Sarkoxy, Missouri murder investigation. We'll have the latest. Plus, why Senator Josh Hawley is filing a counter-complaint against Senate Democrats, and how the city of Joplin is preparing for public vaccine clinics.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, another actor joins the long list of celebrities who have received the vaccine. And the Senate is in debate over President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief plan. For our morning talker, we're asking, should Congress pass another coronavirus relief package? You can participate in our Insta poll at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. But first, a check on your forecast.
It is cold and cloudy on this Tuesday morning. We even had some snow flurries coming down, not only in the central portion, but a little legitimate snow and rain there, far eastern, central, southwest Missouri. Not amounting to much, just give you an idea. That's actually how cold it is outside. Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin, where it looks like camp is pretty clear right now. 34, but only a wind chill of 26. That wind really beginning to pick up here. It's going to be a little bit of a blustery day as it'll come in anywhere from 15 to 20 miles per hour this afternoon. 34 in Parsons, 32 in Monette. Let's roll 33 in Pittsburgh. Good dose of winter weather here, kind of coast to coast with we got watches and warnings of winter weather of some rhyme or reason, really stretching from California all the way to New York. So let's consider ourselves lucky. You know, we had our dose of that heavy rain yesterday. We get to stay dry today. A little sunshine here later on, but the cold front, yeah, we're kind of locked in with that. Now remember, we're still looking at some Wednesday morning snow that's going to move in before we're able to clear that off. And then it's short-lived, as we're going to be back into the high 40s, low 50s by the time we press into the weekend.
All right. I like seeing the temperature staying above freezing during the day, though.
Yeah, today, I'm telling you, this afternoon with that wind, we can expect wind chills pretty much to stay high 20s, low 30s.
No fun. No fun there. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, authorities have found a stolen car connected to a Sarkoxy, Missouri murder investigation, but they're still searching for a suspect. The car was found just outside of Bowling Green, Kentucky. But authorities are still trying to find the person of interest in the case, Justin Chase Stevens of Coleman, Alabama. Authorities are looking for Stevens for questioning in connection to the death of Becky Sanders from Sarkoxy. She was found dead in her home on January 13th. Police investigate after dozens of Ku Klux Klan recruitment flyers were found at Marietta, Oklahoma homes. Joe Valdez spoke to a Marietta woman who found one at her mother's home.
I think every person of color probably has experienced racism at some point, but not so personal like this, no. Not at everybody's doorstep, no.
This was a first for Kiera Akins. On Saturday morning, her parents found a Ku Klux Klan recruitment flyer in a plastic bag in the yard outside her childhood home.
It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. Like, we've never experienced anything like this that I've been alive here in Marietta for 30 years.
Mayor Kimberly Frere says police found 75 KKK flyers at people's homes on the north, east, and south side of town. Frere says whoever did this did it at random.
And so I think that it's just someone trying to incite hate and want to encourage that divide amongst communities.
But Akins says she feels like black community members were targeted.
I've seen some in places where I know black people live, and then I drove around in this same area where it's all white people and they didn't have anything.
Frere says no vandalism was reported. Police are asking for surveillance video and for anyone with information to come forward.
And so, encouragement to report so that way we can monitor the situation and hopefully find out who's behind it.
Frere says whoever tossed the flyers could face a public nuisance and littering charge. She says since the word church was on the flyers, they're protected by the First Amendment. Akins says she feels uneasy about the situation and hopes the city will find out who did this.
If they don't do anything else for this community, I think this is something that they should take serious.
Senator Josh Hawley files a counter-complaint against 7 Senate Democrats who are seeking an ethics investigation of the Missouri Republican. On Thursday, The Democrats asked the Senate Ethics Committee to investigate the actions of Hawley and Republican Senator Ted Cruz to fully understand their role in the January 6th riot at the Capitol. A release from Hawley's office accused the Democrats of historic partisan abuse of the Senate ethics process. Hawley is asking the committee to investigate the Democrats and take any disciplinary action deemed appropriate. The entire state of Missouri is trailing the rest of the country when it comes to COVID-19 vaccinations. That's according to analysis from the New York Times and Washington Post. The state, which is ranked last in vaccine distribution, has vaccinated only 4% of Missourians. The pace of vaccinations will almost certainly accelerate as more doses of vaccines become available and more vaccines are approved, but it's not yet clear how quickly that will change. The Carthage Library is open and officially dried out. A water leak damaged a lot of the building, forcing officials to close it. But now, after some hard work by library staff and contractors, it's back open on a limited basis. They're still trying to keep things safe due to the pandemic, and that means patrons are limited to 30 minutes inside. You cannot lounge around, and only 3 computers are available. But officials are happy to reopen in any capacity.
Because Jasper County has still has large numbers of people that are coming down with the virus. So we're very conscious of that. And because of that, we're only open limited hours now for 30 minutes apiece. Patrons can come in 30 minutes, take care of business, choose their books.
Carthage Library is located on South Garrison. Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas is carrying on a Finnish tradition dating back to the 1930s. They're called baby boxes, and the CHCSEK officials say they can reduce the occurrence of sudden infant death syndrome by discouraging parents from sharing a bed with their newborn baby. The Community Health Center is giving away the boxes, which include a mattress, sheets, diapers, and wipes. The Bicknell Women's Giving Circle is helping fund the boxes with an $8,000 grant.
That we can lay the groundwork here for additional funding to help support all babies in need and all mothers throughout Southeast Kansas.
The Community Health Center has given away 20 boxes with 60 more available. It's 5:07.
Sunrise at 7:25, mostly cloudy and cool. West breeze, still going to have wind chill in the 20s there on the bus stop forecast. Even at the 9-10 a.m. hour. Not much of a warm up today. Finally, a little bit of sunshine here by the time we get to the afternoon hours, but only going to be in the high 30s, low 40s. Remember, tomorrow morning, that's when we begin to kick in a little late January snow.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Adele celebrates 10 years since the release of her record-breaking album, 21. A look at what's next for the British singer. Plus, how the city of Joplin plans to set up public vaccine clinics. And the Biden administration is trying to pass another round of stimulus relief packages, why it's receiving some pushback by Republicans. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Actor Samuel L. Jackson joins a list of celebrities sharing images of themselves receiving the coronavirus vaccine.
Jackson receiving his first dose of the vaccine over the weekend while wearing an Avengers-themed mask. The actor is 72 and therefore qualifies for the vaccine.
California moved into phase 1B of the vaccine rollout earlier this month. That allows people ages 65 and older to get the shot.
Jackson will have to return for his second dose of vaccine in somewhere around 3 to 4 weeks.
Well, let's turn to David Daniel for the latest entertainment news. Here's his Hollywood Minute.
This is the story of a simple solution, a way to heal our planet. The solution is right under our feet, and it's as old as dirt.
Schools teaching about the environment have a new resource. The producers of the award-winning documentary Kiss the Ground are making a 45-minute version and a supplemental curriculum free for educators. Schools can also get a free DVD with the shorter education cut and the original 84-minute version of the EcoDoc by going to kissthegroundmovie.com.
There's a lot of debate about how long Niles and Sarah have been stuck there at any given time.
Streaming services are taking a page from the DVD Extras playbook. Hulu viewers can now watch last year's hit Palm Springs with commentary by stars Andy Samberg and Kristen Milioti, plus the film's director and screenwriter. Rewatching this way is particularly appropriate for this film, which, after all, is about endlessly repeating the same day. In Hollywood, as always, I'm David Daniel.
Cruise rides at Disney parks getting a little bit of a modern makeover.
Disney Parks blog. On the blog, the company says it will preserve the attraction's storyline but focus more on respecting diversity.
That includes addressing negative depictions of so-called, quote, natives, end quote. The changes take place at both Disneyland and Disney World, with details coming later this year.
Walt Disney himself worked on the Jungle Cruise ride more than 60 years ago.
Adele is celebrating 10 years since the release of her record-smashing album 21.
On Sunday, the 32-year-old singer commemorated her sophomore album with an emotional post on Instagram saying in part, quote, "Happy 10 years, old friend. It's crazy how little I remember of what it was like and how I felt a decade ago."
Went on to thank her fans for the support and love. 21 first released on Jan 24 of 2011 and later debuted in the U.S. on February 22nd. It featured hit songs like Rolling in the Deep, Set Fire to the Rain, and of course the widely popular Someone Like You.
Adele went on to win 6 Grammy Awards, including Album of the Year, Record of the Year, and Song of the Year in 2012.
The British singer has not released any new music since the release of her 25 album, which came out in 2015. She did mention a new album is in the works during a recent appearance on Saturday Night Live, but no word on when that will be released.
Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, the latest as crews rescue a group of miners trapped underground in China.
And a look at our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. 5:17 on this Tuesday morning. Roll some weather on the 7s. Quick little housekeeping note. Now, we haven't picked up any precipitation from today, obviously, but coming off of the 1.3 inches that we had yesterday, now bumps us in excess of 3 inches for the month of January at Joplin Regional Airport. And that 1.3 inches from yesterday is such a January 25th record. Eclipses the record of about 9/10 of an inch that was set back in 1989. And, it came down fast yesterday. Luckily, we just got that afternoon break, so that wasn't too bad. Chilly right now from the Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin with a temperature of 34. Everybody hovering right at, if not just a little bit above, the 32-degree mark with the wind coming in from the northeast right now. Well, that also means we've got wind chills in effect. We've dropped down to 21 degrees in Iola. Feels like 25 in Neosho. Let's roll 26 in Chitopa. Sunrise at 7:25 on the bus stop forecast. Mostly cloudy and cool throughout the morning. And the wind chill is still kind of hovering there in the 20s all the way into the 9 o'clock hour. Expansive winter storm warnings and wind watches that last all the way from California. And in purple white, you see, is going to be a winter warning. And look at this. Crisscross the Midwest all the way to the East Coast. So it's going to be an active week, but everything's going to stay to the north of us for today. We'll get a little action here involved with several systems by the time we get to the weekend, but it's certainly not too bad of a Tuesday. Now, overnight, that's when we get some early Wednesday morning snow. Here's what Future Track will have for us. It'll move in from the west there. We're not looking at massive accumulation numbers, and I still say our key factors, we're not looking at any freezing rain right now. But the snow will work in late tonight and begin, in earnest early Wednesday morning. Clear out, though, by the afternoon hours, not too bad. And really, it's just kind of back-to-back cool days to go along with the snow, because by the time we get to Thursday and Friday, snow's not going to be able to stick around. We're talking about 49 and 57 to close out the work week. Time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page, our Something to Talk About, and our morning Instapoll. President Biden expected to announce an economic recovery plan during next month's address to a joint session of Congress. Now, no word on what the final price tag will be, but the president says it will feature what he calls historic investments. In the meantime, President Biden hoping leaders in Washington, D.C. will pass his major relief package. John Lawrence reports.
The Biden administration is trying to boost a struggling U.S. economy battered by the COVID-19 pandemic.
There are tens of millions of Americans who are really on the economic precipice. There are thousands of businesses, particularly restaurants, who are on the verge of going out of business.
President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief plan earmarks funds for things like stimulus checks, housing assistance, and increased unemployment benefits.
I don't expect we'll know whether we have an agreement and to what extent the entire package will be able to pass or not pass until we get right down to the very end of this process.
While some Democrats favor a pricier proposal, some Republicans want to tighten the purse strings, including Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, who says he's against another round of stimulus checks.
Any further action should be smart and targeted, not just an imprecise deluge of borrowed money that would direct huge sums toward those who don't need it.
As the talks go back and forth, the Biden administration is hoping for a bipartisan agreement.
Democrats and Republicans can engage and give their input and feedback on what they think is going to work and how to move this package forward.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
If both sides cannot come to terms, Democrats may pursue a rare and controversial legislative process called reconciliation. That move allows many parts of the bill to pass the Senate with just a majority vote. Our question to you on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Instant Poll: should Congress pass another coronavirus relief package? You can take part either on Facebook or going to KOAMNewsNow.com/vote. We'll get to your results here in a bit. Health Watch is next.
Topping Health Watch this morning, the city of Joplin sees a decrease in coronavirus cases. Officials also expect to have vaccine for public vaccine clinics, quote, very soon. KOAM's Zach Dodge has the story.
I think things are looking up that we're going to get some vaccine.
A full week after Governor Parson activated Phase 1B, Tier 2 of vaccine distribution, officials in Joplin are cautiously optimistic that residents will see more vaccines in the area sooner rather than later.
The conversations we've been having over the last few days, I think that it's likely that we'll be able to get some vaccine in our hands for public clinics in the very near future.
Assistant City Manager Dan Pekarik says once those vaccines do come in, they'll be used for public vaccine clinics, which could be done in a large facility or drive-through. He says those clinics will also continue once other providers in the area have vaccines.
As vaccine hopefully becomes more available and some of these 35 individual vaccine providers that I mentioned in the community, they start getting vaccine and they can start administering vaccine to individuals. I think there'll probably be a blend of those 35 plus a public clinic every so often, kind of built into that equation.
Pekarik hopes to have more information about clinics later this week, but right now they're waiting on some final information from the state. Officials also gave an update on current case numbers that show a downward trend. The city's 7-day rolling average is at 21, down from around 50. The positivity rate is also down to just above 9%, and there are 49 total hospitalizations in Joplin. So with numbers trending down and vaccines being closer, Mayor Ryan Stanley thinks things are going in the right direction.
It's very clear to me, and I hope it's clear to the community, that we are certainly playing a winning hand when it comes to COVID, that we are absolutely in the process of winning this and defeating this virus.
In Joplin, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
There are currently 136 active cases in Joplin. There have been 112 deaths related to the virus inside the city limits. Research from the Cleveland Clinic finds that heavy smokers have a higher risk of hospitalization and death from COVID-19. Patients who smoked a pack a day for 30 years or 2 packs a day for 15 years were more than 2 times as likely to be hospitalized with coronavirus and had higher death rates compared to non-smokers. Mozart could be good medicine. A study in the online journal Open Heart finds heart surgery patients who listen to music after a major operation greatly reduce their anxiety and pain. Another perk, music intervention has no risk or known side effects. Well, that afternoon's news might be good for your brain. A study in the online journal General Psychiatry shows that participants who take naps score significantly higher on cognitive performance tests. Researchers say those people have better location awareness, verbal fluency, and working memory. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
A little bit of a chilly start, hovering right around the freezing mark. Most people about a degree or two above. It had some morning flurries, but it's not going to amount to anything. It's not going to stick around. Still, the northeast wind keeps us cool today. High 30s, low 40s, as good as we're going to get. Key is tonight into tomorrow morning, because look at what develops out to our west right there, and we're going to get some snow that's going to roll through right there. Luckily, looks like we're going to be able to avoid the freezing rain, and it's not going to stick around because we're looking at 50s there to end the work week. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Authorities find the stolen car connected to a Sarkoxy, Missouri murder investigation. We'll have the latest. Plus, why Senator Josh Hawley is filing a counter-complaint against Senate Democrats, and how the city of Joplin is preparing for public vaccine clinics.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, the story behind the Georgia fire captain who signed the Pledge of Allegiance on Inauguration Day and why it had a personal connection. Plus, for our morning talker, we're asking, should Congress pass another coronavirus relief package? You can participate in our Insta poll at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. But first, a check on your forecast.
There's multiple winter storms affecting the contiguous 48, but for our Tuesday, everything pretty much stays to our north. We did have some light morning flurries, but we'll also be on the dry side today. Heavy cloud cover, though, to start from the Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin. 34 degrees with a wind chill right now of 25, pretty much hovering right at, if not a degree or two above 32. Give you an idea nationally what's going on. Winter weather watches and warnings stretching from coast to coast. You not only have the one up in the west, but you've got the one for the upper plains that stretches all the way to the Atlantic. Now, we're going to get our dose of winter weather, but it's not really going to kick in until tomorrow morning. Next 24 hours, you can see that temperature is just going to languish in the 30s. As we push into Tuesday night, we see it develop out to our west and it gets on us there around midnight and just keeps on shooting up over us through Wednesday morning as well. Not looking at a whole lot of accumulation, and it's not going to be able to stick around because on the 7-day forecast, we're looking at 50s there to close out the work week and head into the weekend. I think the key factor, Tanya, is just about every model that you run on Future Track as we head into tomorrow does have us avoiding any freezing precipitation for elongated periods of time. So the fact that we can kind of dip down and take our snow doesn't mean we have a long transition period where we're going to have to worry a lot about the roads.
Yeah. Well, just be safe out there.
Yep, we'll be prepared for it.
Make sure you have your coat with you, that's for sure.
Yes.
It's going to be cold. All right, thanks, Michael. Authorities have found a stolen car connected to a Sarkoxy, Missouri murder investigation, but they're still searching for a suspect. The car was found just outside of Bowling Green, Kentucky, but authorities are still trying to find the person of interest in the case, Justin Stevens of Coleman, Alabama. Authorities are looking for Stevens for questioning in connection to the death of Becky Sanders from Sarkoxy. She was found dead in her home on January 13th. Law enforcement in Veneta, Oklahoma have a suspect in custody for making threats against schools in the city. The schools were put on lockdown as a precaution against threats of a shooting at the schools. So far, authorities say one person has been arrested and more arrests are possible. No one at the schools was hurt. Senator Josh Hawley files a counter-complaint against 7 Senate Democrats who are seeking an ethics investigation of the Missouri Republican. On Thursday, the Democrats asked the Senate Ethics Committee to investigate the actions of Hawley and Republican Senator Ted Cruz to fully understand their role in the January 6th riot at the Capitol. A release from Hawley's office accused the Democrats of historic partisan abuse of the Senate ethics process. Hawley is asking the committee to investigate the Democrats and take any disciplinary action deemed appropriate.
I was only the 3rd woman and the first mom to serve as White House press secretary. And with your support, I hope to be the first woman to lead our state as governor.
Former White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders announces she is running for governor of Arkansas. Sanders made the announcement via pre-recorded video in which she touted her experience and lambasted socialism and cancel culture. Sanders is the daughter of former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee. The city of Neosho is asking voters to decide whether to tax online purchases. The city council added a proposed use tax to the April 6th election ballot. It would be a 3% tax on items bought online, the same as the city's standard sales tax. The ballot language includes a line that says the use tax would eliminate an unfair advantage for out-of-state vendors.
% for the online sales to out-of-state businesses. That affects not only local businesses, it affects it affects your city government as well.
Again, the use tax will appear on the April 6th ballot. The Carthage Library is open and officially dried out. A water leak damaged a lot of the building, forcing officials to close it. But now, after some hard work by library staff and contractors, it's back open on a limited basis. They're still trying to keep things safe due to the pandemic, and that means patrons are limited to 30 minutes inside. You can't lounge around, and only 3 computers are available, but officials say they are happy to reopen in any capacity. The Kansas Department of Health and Environment issued a stream advisory for Buck Run Creek along the area east of Scott Avenue and west of Highway 69 in Fort Scott. Officials say a manhole overflowed into the creek because of heavy rain. City of Fort Scott has repaired the problem, but the KDHE says no one should enter the creek until it has been cleared of contamination. Across the area, Jasper County reports 6,885 total COVID cases since the pandemic began. Newton County reports 4,832 cases. McDonald County has had 2,184. Crawford County, Kansas reports 4,095, and Ottawa County, Oklahoma is at 3,355 total cases. Well, the Chiefs are headed back to the Super Bowl, and fans are busy gearing up for game day. KOAM's Kate Kelly takes a look at some enthusiastic sales taking place at Academy in Joplin.
Fans have been hoping for another big win at the Super Bowl, and now they've got their chance. It's a big deal for locals like Wes Harden.
Oh man, we were super excited watching the game. Of course, I've been to the AFC Championship the last 2 years. Didn't get to go this year for obvious reasons, but super excited to head back to the Super Bowl and excited to see him beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Harden is training his little boy to grow up to be a proper Chiefs fan, and Academy is doing its part to get everyone geared up for game day.
Right now we have the on-field championship shirts and then some other Nike shirts as well for the AFC Championship. I'm expecting to get the on-field hats and other things like that for the championship. So a lot of stuff still scheduled to come in, so we're excited to get it and get it for our customers.
Academy staff had Chiefs merchandise ready to go as soon as their Super Bowl status became official. It's been busy ever since.
And good turnout, even considering the pandemic and everything, still having a great turnout. And customers are just excited about it.
As for Harden, excited is an understatement. Win or lose, he says he'll stay a loyal fan and he'll be dressed in red and gold on game day.
Go Chiefs!
In Joplin, Kate Kelly, KOAM News.
Academy says they expect to see plenty of Chiefs merchandise flying off their racks leading up to Super Bowl Sunday. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. How a fire captain used sign language to honor her late father on Inauguration Day. Plus, rescuers have saved 11 people who were trapped in a gold mine in China. We'll have the latest, but first, it's 5:37.
Going to be dry and cool today. Only going to be in the 30s. Still, big talkers going to be what develops late tonight into Wednesday morning. Got some snow that comes out of the west right there. Should be less than, right at, if not less than an inch of accumulation, and probably done with it about 9, 10 a.m. It is from west to east right there. And really Thursday and Friday, who can beat that? Back to the 50s there to wrap up the work week and get ready to end January. Be back with World Watch next.
Stopping World Watch, a breakthrough for rescue crews trying to save a group of gold miners trapped underground in China. CBS's Ian Lee has the latest.
One by one, rescuers pulled 11 Chinese miners from the depths of a collapsed mine on Sunday. Weak and exhausted, they were quickly taken to nearby ambulances. The miners wore blindfolds to protect their eyes after weeks of darkness. But the rescue was bittersweet, as hours later, crews found the bodies of 9 others killed in an explosion at the site earlier this month. That blast collapsed the gold mine, trapping workers nearly 2,000 feet below ground. Rescuers worked day and night, lowering food and medicine to keep the miners alive. And the search isn't over. One is still missing. The local mayor says rescue workers won't stop until he's found. Ian Lee, CBS News.
China has some of the world's most dangerous mines. Government statistics show nearly 600 people died in mining-related accidents last year. Well, Japan is reporting an increased rate of people who have died at home from COVID-19 in January and December. Data from Japan's National Police Agency shows 75 deaths between January 1st and January 20th, and 56 deaths in the month of December. In total, it has recorded 197 deaths at home since March of 2020. According to public broadcaster NHK, many cases of infection were only confirmed in post-mortem examination. These people could not be seen swiftly by doctors despite falling ill. 90 and 86 years old newlyweds Jeff and Jenny Hollins received their vaccines against COVID-19 together yesterday in Mansfield, England. They both recovered from the virus and were among the first to be vaccinated at the new Mansfield Vaccination Center. The happy couple is urging anyone who can get the vaccine to do so. The now Mr. and Mrs. Holland met and fell in love at the community center near where they live in Mansfield. They were due to be married on Jenny's birthday in April of 2020, but their special day had to be postponed due to COVID-19. The wedding eventually happened on August 22nd and had only just 2 witnesses. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for something to talk about.
Thank you, Tanya. KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Instapoll. Lawmakers continue to debate a 3rd round of coronavirus relief. Our question to you is, should Congress pass another coronavirus relief package? We'll begin our comments with Trevor Tackett. Trevor says, yes, it is our tax money. I think it's funny how we can bail out big business that still screws their employees over, but the government hesitated to bail out the American people. Tom Scott, he agrees and says, yes, the economy is in trouble, but killing the Keystone Pipeline didn't help any. Natasha May Wise, she says, well, I say yes, because them taxing us is illegal anyways. And Ken Cole says, well, yeah, if it goes to the general public in this country only, and no hidden pork or political crap in it. Fat chance with that, though, with all the elected crooks we got in D.C. Ken says most politicians would sell their own mother, in his opinion. On our Insta poll this morning, you go to KOAMNewsNow.com/vote. We've got 78% of you saying yes, Congress should pass another coronavirus relief package. Great engagement on Facebook, and also appreciate everybody taking part in our Insta poll. We'll continue to update those throughout the course of the show. Come back with the news you need to know before you head out the door right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Last night, the House sent the Senate a single article of impeachment against former President Trump, this time accusing him of inciting insurrection at the Capitol on January 6th. Today, all 100 senators will be sworn in as members of the impeachment court. Opening arguments will begin in 2 weeks. Senator Josh Hawley files a counter-complaint against 7 Senate Democrats who are seeking an ethics investigation of the Missouri Republican. On Thursday, the Democrats asked the Senate Ethics Committee to investigate the actions of Hawley and Republican Senator Ted Cruz to fully understand their role in the January 6th riot at the Capitol. A release from Hawley's office accused the Democrats of historic partisan abuse of the Senate ethics process. Hawley is asking the committee to investigate the Democrats and take any disciplinary action deemed appropriate. Authorities have found a stolen car connected to a Sarkoxy, Missouri murder investigation, but they're still searching for a suspect. The car was found just outside of Bowling Green, Kentucky, but authorities are still trying to find a person of interest in the case, Justin Stevens of Coleman, Alabama. Authorities are looking for Stevens for questioning in connection to the death of Becky Sanders from Sarkoxy. She was found dead in her home on January 13th. The city of Joplin is gearing up for public vaccine clinics. Assistant City Manager Dan Pekarik yesterday said that after discussion with the state, Joplin hopes to have vaccine very soon. He says there are around 35 providers in the area, including the Joplin Health Department, that will be providing vaccinations once supply comes in. In the meantime, the city is planning public vaccine clinics. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Cool and breezy to start our Tuesday morning. Sunrise at 7:25, but we're going to have to fight through some early morning cloud cover. And while we get a little bit of afternoon sunshine, the clouds do a good job sticking around. High is only going to be in the high 30s, low 40s, thanks in part to a northeast breeze. Now, as we cruise into the nighttime hours, look at what develops out to our west right there. You've got multiple storm systems throughout the United States that have wintry weather involved in them in some form or fashion, stretching from California all the way to New York. And while the most severe storm for today stays to the upper plains to our north, by the time we get into late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, we do see some snow develop over the 4 states. Our accumulation numbers really looking at about an inch or less, so not widespread. And it looks like we're going to really be able to avoid most of the freezing rain. That really won't turn back over until it gets on the other side of the Ozarks. Then we clear off on Wednesday. Snow not going to stick around too long because Thursday and Friday we're pressing up against 50. Friday we're cruising into the mid-50s there as we head into the weekend. And of course you can always find the latest on the Skywatch weather app.
When Georgia Fire Captain Andrea Hall delivered the Pledge of Allegiance on Inauguration Day, few people knew she would also do it in sign language. She wanted it to be a surprise. Adriana Diaz has the reason why.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Fire Captain Andrea M. Hall made 2 pledges on Inauguration Day. One to the flag, the other to a community close to home.
Well, I really just wanted to pay homage to the deaf and hearing impaired community. The words of the pledge are significant, not just for us, but for them as well.
For the first ever African-American female fire captain in Fulton County, Georgia, it's personal. Her late father was deaf.
How does it feel for you when you speak vocally and with sign language? Does it kind of have a different flavor?
It does. It's just like if I spoke another language like Spanish or French. When you have a native language that you speak, it's like comfort food. You know, it's like mashed potatoes and gravy.
When did you decide that you would sign along with the pledge?
Very early on, because this is the thing. You know, you're between Lady Gaga and J-Lo. I mean, come on. That's a hard, and I have like my little 15 seconds of something. Those are 2 hard acts to be sandwiched between. So I need to put some meat between there, you know.
And you did. You really did. You stood up there and you started signing, and I said, "Oh my goodness!" And I know a lot of people did as well.
I'm glad that was the reaction.
At a time of such division, especially at a place like the Capitol, perhaps the words of the pledge say it all.
It was written for little children who were immigrants. And in some way, we're all immigrants. You know, we're a mismatch of people from all over. And I think that's the significance of it. It's a way to unify all of us by speaking those 31 words. With liberty and justice for all.
Adriana Diaz, CBS News, Chicago.
You know, Michael, how she mentioned that she had to go between J-Lo and Lady Gaga. I mean, she definitely had to bring it, and I think she did. She definitely did.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I've always been amazed at how fast and that form of communication. That's pretty cool right there. Hey, Tanya, on Facebook, if the book is part of your morning routine, check out @Michael Hayslip, KOAM. And one thing that we're going to post here in a little bit is we're going to talk about the record amount of rainfall from yesterday, and that's why we had all those flash flood warnings. But Joplin Regional Airport ended up picking up 1.3 inches, and that easily broke the January 25th record of 0.94 inches from 1989. And once again, you can check that out at Michael Hayslip, KOAM. Also, we can find a quick hitter for your morning forecast. Also on the book, Jesse Irwin, KOAM Fox 14. You good? Good? Okay, nobody, it was just a trash can. Nobody fell down. Jesse Irwin, KOAM, Fox 14. Coming up shortly, Jesse has an interview and more information about the Neosho Arts Council and ArtCon, and you can click on his links that he provides for us. Also, too, I was going to do a little trending on Twitter this morning. As Ryan Clark points out, Patrick Mahomes has now been to as many Super Bowls as Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers combined. Be back. Update the Skywatch storm tracker for you right after this. Got some heavy cloud cover here for our Tuesday morning. Got some flurries as well in the central portion of the 4 states, and even a couple raindrops and a little light snow up there by Stockton. It's certainly not going to impact travel at all. We're kind of keeping our eye on tomorrow. The big system in the upper plains right there, it's going to ride up into the Great Lakes for today. But we're going to get a little snow here headed our way as we work into tonight. We're going to watch everything develop out here in central Kansas, and then late tonight into early Wednesday morning as we see the snow dropping in on us. Not a whole lot of freezing rain, so that's always a positive, and looking at probably an inch or less than snow accumulation. Then we warm up for the weekend. Back right after this.
Authorities find the stolen car connected to a Sarkoxy, Missouri murder investigation. We'll have the latest. Plus, why Senator Josh Hawley is filing a counter-complaint against Senate Democrats, and how the city of Joplin is preparing for public vaccine clinics.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, how one restaurant is helping people beat cabin fever. And for our morning talker, we're asking, should Congress pass another coronavirus relief package? You can also vote in our Instapoll at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. But first, a check on your forecast.
Mostly cloudy start for our Tuesday morning. We are picking up some raindrops and a little bit of light snow there throughout southwest Missouri. Had some flurries in the central portion, but no travel concerns for our Tuesday. Freeman Health System sky camera, 34 degrees. The wind causing about a 9-degree difference there, so it only feels like it's 25 in Joplin. These are actual temperatures right at, if not a little bit above, the freezing mark. 32 in Monette, 33 in Parsons, 32s in Fort Scott and Nevada as the wind tracker now shifts and we see double digits in Chanute and Nevada. Large multiple systems throughout the United States with winter storm warnings stretching from coast to coast, just not through the 4 states. So we'll call that a winter, and even with some overnight and early morning Wednesday snow expected, looks like we'll even stay out of advisory territory because our accumulation number is really going to be about an inch or less. They're just developing this evening in central Kansas, working over us just in time for Wednesday morning. We avoid most of the freezing rain. That's the best sign. And then really by the time we get to the afternoon, we're about done with all the snow. Back up into the high 40s and mid 50s. So whatever we do pick up tomorrow is going to be pretty short-lived. Not going to be around by the time we get to the weekend.
All right. Well, some cold nights ahead of us, that's for sure.
Yeah, but really, if you look ahead to the weekend there, and the fact that we can roll 50 essentially from Thursday all the way to Monday.
Will it feel like 50? Because if we
Yeah,
have a wind chill like today, it's... ugh.
yeah, it's not going to be one of those where it's 50 but feels like 40. You know, it's not going to be 57 and feels like 45. Thursday and Friday, that wind is going to calm down a little bit.
And we could handle actual 50s. That'd
Yeah.
be great. All right, thanks, Michael. Authorities have found a stolen car connected to a Sarkoxy, Missouri murder investigation, but they're still searching for a suspect. The car was found just outside of Bowling Green, Kentucky. But authorities are still trying to find the person of interest in the case, Justin Stevens of Coleman, Alabama. Authorities are looking for Stevens for questioning in connection to the death of Becky Sanders from Sarkoxy. She was found dead in her home on January 13th. Law enforcement in Craig County are investigating after an active shooter call put Veneta Public Schools on lockdown yesterday. School will be back in session today, but detectives are still trying to figure out who was behind the phone calls. Investigators say at one point they were getting threats every 15 minutes. Amy Kaufman has the latest.
We heard that there was a shooter outside, and then we also heard there was a shooter inside, so we didn't know what was true.
Veneta High School student Tucker Winfrey says he and his classmates were put on lockdown earlier today after an active shooter threat was called in. Winfrey's classmate Wilson Rife says he never thought something like this would happen in Veneta.
She said we need to go on lockdown and lock all the doors. And we all just got in the corner and hid.
Throughout the day, Craig County deputies and Veneta police officers responded to several different places in addition to the high school. The Veneta McDonald's and several other buildings downtown were evacuated. Officials at the scene say someone would call dispatch every 15 to 20 minutes describing people and cars and threatening to shoot and blow things up. Many people in town became very concerned.
And I just saw, a lot of worried people, a lot of scared people. So I wanted to do everything that I could to comfort the families.
Trinity Baptist Church member Ray Delcourt says he went to the school and prayed with about 40 different families in the parking lot who were concerned for their children. Eventually, Oklahoma Highway Patrol troopers escorted students out from each of Veneta Public Schools buildings at the end of the day. Delcourt says he wanted to show families and officers they weren't alone.
A lot of times when bad things happen like this, I feel like people forget that the presence of God is still here. So I just wanted them to know that I care, and most importantly, God and the Lord cares.
Sheriff Winfrey says no shots were fired and they're thankful no one was hurt. He says this is still an active investigation, so they plan to release more information as the investigation continues. Senator Josh Hawley files a counter-complaint against 7 Senate Democrats who are seeking an ethics investigation of the Missouri Republican. On Thursday, the Democrats asked the Senate Ethics Committee to investigate the actions of Hawley and Republican Senator Ted Cruz to fully understand their role in the January 6th riot at the Capitol. A release from Hawley's office accused the Democrats of historic partisan abuse of the Senate ethics process. Hawley is asking the committee to investigate the Democrats and take any disciplinary action deemed appropriate. Carthage Library is open and officially dried out. A water leak damaged a lot of the buildings, forcing officials to close it. But now, after some hard work by library staff and contractors, it's back open on a limited basis. They're still trying to keep things safe due to the pandemic. That means patrons are limited to 30 minutes inside. You cannot lounge around, and only 3 computers are available, but officials are happy to reopen in any capacity. Kansas City Chiefs fans are going to have to find their own ways to celebrate if their team wins the Super Bowl. City leaders have announced if the Chiefs beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa next weekend, the city will not host a party. Now, it's traditional for the city of a winning Super Bowl team to organize a large celebration. Last year, Kansas City had a parade when the team won the national championship. But this year, officials say it's just too dangerous in light of the COVID pandemic. Instead, they want everyone to focus on cheering at home and promise they'll arrange something at a later date if their team wins. Now, of course, it goes without saying, the Bucs could be the ones to take home the Vince Lombardi trophy. And at the moment, the Chiefs are favored by about 3 points. Well, 4 staters are getting geared up in the southeastern Kansas portion of Chiefs Kingdom. Folks at Jocksnitch in Pittsburgh are helping folks to do that. They have some product in now, like conference and division champ t-shirts, but they're expecting more.
Other stuff is getting air freighted in, like the stocking hats, the hats. That product comes in all week long, along with like the Super Bowl programs. So we get stuff in pretty much every day this week through Saturday to put out in our stores, and luckily have 2 weeks to sell everything before the Super Bowl.
Jocksnitch is at 523 North Broadway in Pittsburgh. It's 6:07.
Always good to see Phil. Haven't seen him in a while. Skywatch storm tracker with some light flurries and a little bit of rain there on the far eastern edge of southwest Missouri. Not going to slow us down travel-wise. Remember what develops tonight into tomorrow morning. Keep our eyes out to the west. A little snow going to roll through. Accumulation numbers about an inch or less than that, so not a whole lot. And after 2 cool days, it's going to be a nice end of the work week. We can press up 50s there and finish this thing out.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, improving vaccine supply.
The White House sets ambitious goals for boosting coronavirus vaccines across the nation. I'm Naomi Ruckham with the plans to overcome shortages and the obstacles in the way.
Plus, the first female to lead the Treasury Department is confirmed, and our very own Jesse Irwin gets a preview of ArtCon.
But it's still going to have a lot of the same great panels and contests. We get the details coming up. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
In Money Watch this morning, a hot new trend at restaurants up north this winter, having customers heading outside despite the cold. Aaron Hasendeth shows us the creative ways one establishment in Minneapolis is helping people deal with cabin fever.
It's a new trend for the bold North lifestyle. Leaning further into winter by cozying up at an ice bar.
We challenged our bar team to come up with a whole new menu just for this.
At the How in Minneapolis, it's not just shots served from ice glasses. It's new cocktails like the summer campfire with a torched marshmallow. The perfect blend of fire and ice.
Yeah, this is the maple old fashioned with candy bacon on top.
After you Roshamalo, have your Bach beer poked. Oh yeah. And caramelized to perfection.
It is. It's like warm foam.
Yeah.
Cold beer. Good combo.
We wanted to do something unique and different to attract not only our dining customers, but also people that may not be comfortable dining inside.
The coolest attraction here,
Nice.
the ice games, of course.
We got beanbag toss, we got beer pong.
You may think there's no way there would be an ice shortage here, but one ice dealer says otherwise.
We're very short on ice. It takes about 4 days to make one of these 300-pound ice blocks, so it's not something that you just stick in your freezer and overnight. This feels a lot like Super Bowl.
And Eric Eastman with Minnesota Ice would know.
We've evolved into one of the largest sculpture-grade ice manufacturers in North America. It's not, distilled water. It's not unicorn tears in the water. It's a process called directional freezing.
The St. Paul-based company brings elaborate ideas to life. Today, the crew is assembling these 300-pound blocks for customers at Tequila Butcher to enjoy, turning the patio into a destination.
This is a perfect opportunity to give them some business.
He says if the weather holds, the masterpieces can last 6 weeks or longer. So think warm thoughts and enjoy the fun before it melts.
Come on out for an hour and have a little bit of fun, even in the middle of the winter here in Minnesota.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers with the mini donuts too. Cheers.
I like that s'mores drink. Well, Janet Yellen has made history, becoming the first female to lead the Treasury Department. The former Fed chair was confirmed as Treasury Secretary with an 84-15 vote in the Senate. During her confirmation hearing, Yellen urged Congress to act big on a stimulus plan to fight the coronavirus pandemic. Also happening at the Treasury, Harriet Tubman is back on track to be on the $20 bill. Originally announced by the Obama administration to happen in 2020, the plan was sidelined during the past 4 years. The new White House says her image on the 20 reflects the history and diversity of America. She replaces former President Andrew Jackson. That's it for Money Watch. We'll be right back.
Straight up 617, roll some weather on the 7s. Check out some precip that we have in southwest Missouri right there. Light rain, even a little snow. Up by Stockton, even the central area, got some flurries earlier this morning. Not going to have any travel impacts for our Tuesday. Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin, 34 degrees. 32 in Miami. Let's roll 33 in Parsons and 34 in Carthage. Now, when you factor in the wind that's reached double digits right now in, Chanute and Nevada, we do have a wind chill in effect. Got to take off about 9 degrees from our temperatures. Low 20s up in the northwest, 25 in Neosho, and 25 as well in Commerce. Speaking of 25, sunrise, 7:25 on the bus stop forecast. Cloudy and cool, and still feeling like the 20s even by the 9 a.m. hour. We've got several big winter systems that stretch from coast to coast. As a matter of fact, watches and warnings in some form or fashion related to these systems stretch from the East Coast down through the Midwest, all the way to the West Coast. We kind of luck out. You know, we're done with our flood warnings and everything. One thing we will be monitoring weather-wise and damage reports coming in just north of Birmingham, Alabama, where a tornado touched down last night, resulting in 1 death, and we've got multiple serious injuries. National Weather Service has not indicated how powerful the tornado was as of yet, but that's something that we'll keep our eye on here throughout the course of the show. Highs in the 30s today in the 4 states. We'll just go mid to high 30s, about as good as we're going to get. Of course, the big development's going to be overnight as we see the snow begin to push its way through central Kansas. Not on us until late Tuesday into Wednesday morning, and accumulation numbers just an inch is about where we'll max out. And so not too bad, and really will have limited travel impacts because we're not going to see a whole lot of freezing rain. After cool Tuesdays and Wednesdays, back up to the 50s there, so the snow is going to melt pretty quick. Now time to check in with our own Jesse Irwin.
Well, this morning we were talking about ArtCon. We're joined by Sarah Cirio, who is the president of the board for the Neosho Arts Council. And Sarah, 2 weeks to go means there's still time to sign up for different panels there's trivia, there's all sorts of things happening. Before we dive into what this year entails, I want to just look at, sure, how have things had to be done differently, but what have you been able to do this year that maybe you didn't even think to do in years past with ArtCon?
Yeah, this year we're able to expand. We're over 3 days instead of just 1. We've introduced a bunch of unique panels, and these are all going to be live and interactive, which is wonderful. We've also included a gaming tournament and a few other things, so it should be a lot of fun.
Got all sorts of panels, and it's not just comic based, but a lot of it is comic inspired.
Right. So we have Andy Parks will be joining us, and his had a comic book just recently adapted for feature film on Netflix called Extraction. We'll also be having a live inking and drawing demo with Megan Levins, and Andy's going to be joining her as well. And we're also going to be looking at horror comics, which is exciting. Something that you don't often see. It's a unique side of comic books, but Phil Hester and Jeremy Hahn will be joining us for that. So we just have a lot of great comic-based panels, as well as a wide range of other things for cosplayers, something for everybody.
You know, I don't think people realize, as we spent the last year watching more TV in a lot of ways than I think we ever expected to over the course of 12 months, not that many people would realize how many people in the industry are from the 4-state area. And you mentioned Jeremy, he's a great example. And I think this sort of speaks to how fortunate we are to have such talent come out of the 4-state area. And you're living proof of that, but you also get to witness this on a daily basis in terms of who you interact with, both within the council and outside of it, right?
Right. We are very fortunate. This area has great access to all kinds of artists, but we are very fortunate to have Jeremy, who has worked on so many wonderful comic books and is such a supporter of the arts in our community.
It's really neat. So if people want to attend, they don't have to leave their house. So how can people get involved? How can people learn more? Give us the details.
So everyone can join us by visiting neoshoarts.net and signing up for the free live virtual panels. We also have the cosplay contest you can join, game tournaments, trivia nights. So much is going on. Some things have entry fees and some things are free.
It's wonderful you guys are making it happen this year. Clearly, 2020 wasn't going to stop you, and 2021 looks like it's going to be fun, and it's going to be a way to branch off for ArtCon. So we're going to have information about ArtCon on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Just go right there, and you'll find all the links and more. Sarah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, let's send it back to the studio.
Thank you, Jesse. We'll be right back with Health Watch after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, there are new concerns over the COVID-19 vaccine rollout as distribution lags and a new variant is discovered in the U.S. Naomi Ruckham explains how the Biden administration hopes to speed up the stalled process.
The president is voicing optimism on the COVID vaccine front, saying within months, any American who wants a vaccine should have access.
I think we'll be able to do that this spring, but it's going to be a logistical challenge that exceeds anything we've ever tried.
The Biden administration is blaming President Trump's team for the lag, but believes the nation could be injecting 1.5 million shots a day.
Yes, we can reach it. He set an original goal of 100 million doses in the first 100 days. And as I've said and others have said, that's a floor, not a ceiling.
It comes as many states struggle to meet demand for the vaccine. According to the CDC, of 41 million doses shipped by the federal government, only 22 million have been administered. Here in New York, plans to use large stadiums as mass vaccination sites are on hold as the state waits for more doses to arrive.
We have a supply problem, and we have a flexibility problem, because we can't access second doses that are being held in reserve for weeks ahead.
In California, many stay-at-home restrictions have now been lifted, as health experts believe the state may have started flattening its infection curve. Still, at its current pace, the state won't vaccinate even half of its residents until Thanksgiving.
I want to remind folks we're not out of the woods.
At the White House, public health briefings with the coronavirus response team will now happen 3 times a week, while Congress works to secure a new COVID relief bill. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
The city of Joplin is gearing up for public vaccine clinics. Assistant City Manager Dan Pekarik yesterday said that after discussion with the state, Joplin hopes to have more vaccines very soon. He says there are around 35 providers in the area, including the Joplin Health Department, that will be providing vaccinations once the supply comes in. In the meantime, the city is planning public vaccine clinics.
Up that we're going to get some vaccine for public clinics in the very near future. I'm hopeful again that we might be able to release some information about that a little bit later in the week. But I think in the conversations we've been having over the last few days, I think that it's likely that we'll be able to get some vaccine in our hands for public clinics in the very near future.
Officials also reported coronavirus numbers have improved in the city. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Overcast and cool to start our Tuesday with a little bit of rain and some flurries there on southwest Missouri. No travel impacts for today. Highs only in the 30s though, with mostly cloudy skies. Overnight, we'll watch the left-hand side. Some snow develops out there in central Kansas, rolls through us late Tuesday into early Wednesday. Looking at about an inch of accumulation. More KOAM Morning News right after this.
Authorities find the stolen car connected to a Sarkoxy, Missouri murder investigation. We'll have the latest. Plus, why Senator Josh Hawley is filing a counter-complaint against Senate Democrats, and how the city of Joplin is preparing for public vaccine clinics.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, the latest on the upcoming impeachment trial for former President Trump. And our 4 morning talker, we're asking, should Congress pass another coronavirus relief package? You can participate in our Insta poll at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. But first, a check on your forecast.
We're picking up some raindrops and some flurries here, eastern part of southwest Missouri. Limited travel impacts. Satellite coverage, heavy cloud cover, overcast skies, and Freeman Health System sky camera. Yet to see the skies really begin to lighten up. That's because sunrise not until 7:25. 34 degrees is where we stand. Wind now double digits up in Joplin. 33 in Pittsburgh, 32 in Monette, and 32 in Independence. Now, as the wind moves in from the northeast, we do need to know that that's going to actually take about 9 degrees off of our temperature compared to what it feels like. Several winter storm systems moving in the contiguous 48 with winter weather advisories and warnings lasting from coast to coast, just avoiding us, which is a good thing. Even when we get some late snow that develops into Wednesday morning, don't even think we'll reach advisory status on it. And that's a good idea that we're able to avoid any of the freezing rain. We love that. If you do see any, it's going to be down to the south where that temperature will flip over above freezing a little bit earlier than what it will to the north. Looking at accumulation numbers, probably max out in an inch, so certainly not a whole lot of snow. And then not going to be able to stick around because Thursday and Friday are going to challenge 50s and get up into the 50s there to end the work week.
All right. Just bundle up because it's sure going to feel cold
that wind makes a big difference this morning. I'll tell you that much. You turn the corner, get out in the open there, it'll put a little bite in you.
Yeah, be careful. All right, thanks, Michael. Authorities have found a stolen car connected to a Sarkoxy, Missouri murder investigation, but they're still searching for a suspect. The car was found just outside of Bowling Green, Kentucky, but authorities are still trying to find the person of interest in the case, Justin Stevens of Coleman, Alabama. Authorities are looking for Stevens for questioning in connection to the death of Becky Sanders from Sarkoxy. She was found dead in her home on January 13th. Missouri Senator Josh Hawley files a counter-complaint against 7 Senate Democrats who are seeking an ethics investigation of the Missouri Republican. On Thursday, the Democrats asked the Senate Ethics Committee to investigate the actions of Hawley and Republican Senator Ted Cruz to fully understand their role in the January 6th riot at the Capitol. A release from Hawley's office accused the Democrats of historic partisan abuse of the Senate ethics process. Hawley is asking the committee to investigate the Democrats and take any disciplinary action deemed appropriate. The Carthage Library is open and officially dried out. A water leak damaged a lot of the building, forcing officials to close it. Now, after some hard work by library staff and contractors, it's back open on a limited basis. Now, they're still trying to keep things safe due to the pandemic, and that means patrons are limited to 30 minutes inside. You can't lounge around, and only 3 computers are available. But officials are happy to reopen in any capacity.
Because Jasper County has still has large numbers of people that are coming down with the virus. So we're very conscious of that. And because of that, we're only open limited hours now for 30 minutes apiece. Patrons can come in 30 minutes, take care of business, choose their books.
Carthage Library is located on South Garrison. It's the Chiefs versus the Buccaneers for Super Bowl 55. For football fans, the only drawback to the Super Bowl is having to wait 2 weeks to see the best quarterback right now face the best of all time. Mola Linga has a preview.
He's got the first down and this game's over. Super Bowl 55 is set. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa. A Super Bowl home game for the Bucs, as if QB Tom Brady, the so-called GOAT, or greatest of all time, needed an advantage. The 6-time champ has now led a second team to the Super Bowl in just his first year with the franchise. But standing in his way, superstar Patrick Mahomes, who has established himself as the face and future of the NFL. This highlight machine is leading his Chiefs to their second straight Super Bowl. No easy task. In fact, the last QB to win back-to-back Super Bowls? Guess who? Tom Brady in 04 and 05, just a few years after winning his first Super Bowl in 2002. Guess what Mahomes was up to in 02? Kindergarten. One was reading defenses while the other was learning how to read.
That was likely the knockout punch.
Think about it. Brady is old enough to be Mahomes' father. Then again, is your dad playing in the Super Bowl? Brady goes for the deep shot. This is a generational showdown. The old guard taking on the new guard. The 43-year-old legend against the 25-year-old kid. Just in time, a battle for the ages to entertain, distract, and make us, once again, feel like a kid. Or the GOAT. You pick. Mola Lengi, CBS News, Tampa.
He may be a kid, but he's already won 1 Super Bowl. The battle between the NFL's 2 greatest quarterbacks will take place right here on Channel 7 KOAM February 7th. Pre-game coverage starts at 2 p.m. and will be its streaming service CBS All Access. Kickoff is at 5:30 Central Time. In Joplin, plenty of Chiefs fans are gearing up for game day. Dozens of people kept the Chiefs section of Academy Sports busy. Manager there says he expects Chiefs sales to be up even more this year. More Chiefs apparel and merchandise will be coming in as the Super Bowl approaches. For now, fans like Wes Harden are looking to add more red and gold to their collection.
I've kind of been adopted into the Chiefs kingdom. My wife's been a longtime fan. So when we got married, I became a Chiefs fan. And then ever since then, it's just been a wild ride, so it's been exciting.
Academy says they expect to see plenty of Chiefs merchandise flying off their racks leading up to Super Bowl Sunday. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. An impeachment trial.
The second impeachment of former President Donald Trump is now in the hands of the Senate. I'm Naomi Ruckham with how the process moves forward.
Plus, for our morning talker, we're asking, should Congress pass another coronavirus relief package? We let you weigh in, but first, it's 6:37.
Sunrise 7:25 on this Tuesday morning. Mostly cloudy skies early. little bit of precip involving light rain, even some snow flurries on the eastern edge of southwest Missouri for the early morning hours. Not going to impact travel at all. What we're paying attention to is late tonight into Wednesday morning as snow develops out to the west, rolls through in time for Wednesday morning. Max out about an inch of accumulation, so not a whole lot. And then we finish off the week in fine fashion, all the way back up into the 50s. Nationwatch is next.
Topping Nationwatch this morning, thousands of National Guard troops are staying in Washington, D.C. as we get closer to the impeachment trial of former President Trump. Democrats moved the process forward yesterday when they sent the single article to the Senate. CBS's Naomi Ruckham has the latest on the upcoming trial.
Delivered an article of impeachment against former President Trump to the Senate for a historic second time.
Donald John Trump engaged in high crimes and misdemeanors by inciting violence against the government of the United States.
Lead impeachment manager Jamie Raskin read the article accusing Mr. Trump of inciting the Capitol riot.
He also willfully made statements that in context encouraged and foreseeably resulted in lawless action at the Capitol, such as,
"And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore."
The article of impeachment also notes the former president's rhetoric leading up to January 6th.
They're not taking this White House. We're going to fight like hell, I'll tell you right now.
He threatened the integrity of the democratic system, interfered with the peaceful transition of power, and imperiled a co-equal branch of government.
President Biden told CNN off camera that he doesn't think there are enough Republican votes needed to convict, but the trial has to happen.
First of all, I think the trial is stupid. I think it's counterproductive.
Democrats say Mr. Trump must be held accountable.
The theory that the Senate can't try former officials would amount to a constitutional get-out-of-jail-free card for any president.
The trial will begin the week of February 8th. Unlike last year's trial, Chief Justice John Roberts will not preside. That duty now falls to the Senate pro tempore, Democrat Patrick Leahy. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Some Republicans say Leahy, who was first elected Vermont senator in 1975, should not be both judge and jury. They also question the constitutionality of holding a trial for a former president, even though there is no precedent for impeaching former officials. President Biden said Monday he hopes to increase vaccinations against the coronavirus to 1.5 million Americans a day. The president had campaigned on a promise to deliver 100 million shots in his first 100 days in office. Now says the country can and must do better. COVID-19 has now claimed the lives of around 421,000 people in the U.S. A multi-million-dollar fund is being set up for the victims of Harvey Weinstein. It's part of a Weinstein Company liquidation plan approved by a U.S. bankruptcy judge. The plan allocates more than $17 million for sexual harassment and assault victims of Weinstein. A sexual misconduct claims fund and a liquidation trust would handle the payments. Weinstein is serving a prison sentence of 23 years for criminal sexual acts and rape. He's still facing 6 more sexual assault charges in Los Angeles. That's a look at today's top national stories. Let's check back in with Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, lawmakers continue to debate a third round of coronavirus relief. President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief plan earmarks funds for things like stimulus checks, housing assistance, and increased unemployment benefits. Our question to you is, should Congress pass another coronavirus relief package? Liz Nottingham, she comes in, the simple no. John Treeben, if you are not personally impacted, so you've had no changes in your income, then no. John says, good morning, KOAM, good morning, America. We say good morning, John. Like Rocky Cunningham with the stimulus package back in the day, cornflakes and pork with peanut butter. Virginia Wilcox says, how about Congress get back all the money sent to foreign countries and use that for the American people? And JJ Gentner says, problem is they keep giving more money to the unemployed. Become April 15, the unemployed have to pay taxes on it because it's income. JJ calls it a catch-22. On our morning Insta poll right now, 80% of you say yes, Congress should pass another coronavirus relief package. Got plenty of time to make your voice heard. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Come back, celebrate birthdays and anniversaries with us right after this.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero. Staff Sergeant Bennett Hayden Cox, who served in the United States Army from 1942 to 1945. He served in Australia and New Guinea during World War II. His hometown, Stark, Kansas. We're proud to salute Bennett Hayden, our four-state hero.
We begin with Lillian Inch's birthday. Happy birthday, Miss Lillian. She celebrates in Frontenac. We've got Mackenzie Holbert. Mackenzie, she is turning 14. Big fan of softball and wrestling. Mackenzie, have a great day in Pittsburgh. And Ian Mendoza, a happy birthday to you, my friend. Ian is in Erie.
All right, Kimmy Loftmiller turning 42 years old this year in Pittsburgh. Happy birthday, Kimmy.
Mr. Joe Sarwinski, he's celebrating his 79th birthday. Happy birthday, Joe, in Columbus.
Jenny Womack, happy birthday to you. I hope you have a great one in person.
I like that sweater right there. Love that. Ben and Tara Hutto, number 8. Great looking family pic right there, Ben and Tara. They're celebrating in Columbus.
And Doug and Linda Leonard are celebrating their 52nd anniversary today. Congratulations to the Leonards in Humboldt, Kansas.
And whenever we have a birthday for this family, I always just like to yell, holla! Carenza Holler. She turns 25 now. That smiling face that you see there on the left, that happens to be our sales assistant, Janet Holler. Carenza, part of the KOAM family. Had Carenza, a happy birthday from all of us here as she celebrates in Pittsburgh.
All right, and Marvin Barrett celebrating birthday number 83 today in Columbus.
Happy birthday, Mr. Barrett. Happy birthday, happy anniversary to all. Here's where you can send them in. Birthdays at KOAMTV.com or go to KOAMNewsNow.com/birthdays. Now, here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
All right, you can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club. All you have to do is go to our website and sign up. And once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMNewsNow.com and sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
This light rain and some snow flurries on the eastern part of southwest Missouri just really hasn't budged, and it's not hampering anything. It's one of those where just doesn't want to have a lot of easterly movement in it right now. Freeman Health System Sky Camera, everybody else is on the dry side, 34 degrees. Feeling only though like 25. Let's roll 34 in Parsons, 33 in Neosho, and Fort Scott dipping below the freezing mark, now down to 30. We've got double-digit winds coming out of the northeast right now, and so take that temperature, subtract about 8-9 degrees as far as what it feels like, as our wind chills will stay in the 20s for the majority of the morning. Sunrise on the bus stop forecast, 7:25, and I don't know what they plan on doing for recess there. I know a lot of districts probably keep the little ones inside there if we're going to be hovering around the freezing mark. Pretty good storm system, multiple storm systems. This one stays to the north of us above the upper plains into the Great Lakes and wraps around there to the east coast. Now we've got another one formulating into the trough of the jet stream right there out west. And so what that results in are winter storm warnings of some form or fashion stretching from California, anything white or purple, going to indicate winter storms, all the way to the upper plains to the east coast. Now you'll notice we're able to avoid everything. Now, we do have some severe weather to report from overnight just north of Birmingham, Alabama. Tornado touching down, 1 death and multiple serious injuries, numerous structures damaged as well. Still waiting for the National Weather Service to give us an indication of just how intense the tornado was. Here in the 4 states, highs in the mid-30s. Big development is overnight as snow begins to form out to the west. That's what we're keeping our eyes on. Comes through central Kansas. Not going to have to worry about it for this evening. We'll be honest, that fast. It'll really be late tonight and then into Wednesday morning, early Wednesday morning. Accumulation numbers probably max out about 1 inch. Shouldn't really hamper our travel too much. I want everybody to be aware of it, that it's coming, but we don't see a whole lot of freezing rain. What we may see is some of it turn over right there throughout northeast Oklahoma, the southwest Missouri, south of I-44. So let's be ready for that for the morning commute. But then we push off, should be done with it by around noon. Going to be chilly, however, but then the snow's not going to stick around because we're going to be pushing 50s here as we head into the weekend. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News. Finish this thing off right after this. Wrap up our coronavirus relief package comments with Robin Strickland, who says, while I don't like handouts, this nation is in a financial crisis and it's affecting at least 75% of the country. Now is not the time for debate. Now is the time for help. And Guy Hansen says, battle lines are drawn. The left has most of the ammo. The fortress that Parlay is half taken. Republicans will agree to write the check. The only question is how much. We might as well put it to good use. Final look at our Insta poll this morning. 79% of you say yes, Congress should pass another coronavirus relief package. Appreciate everybody's engagement this morning. Tanya?
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Last night, the House sent the Senate a single article of impeachment against former President Trump, this time accusing him of inciting insurrection at the Capitol on January 6th. Today, all 100 senators will be sworn in as members of the impeachment court. Opening arguments will begin in 2 weeks. Senator Josh Hawley files a counter-complaint against 7 Senate Democrats who are seeking an ethics investigation of the Missouri Republican. On Thursday, the Democrats asked the Senate Ethics Committee to investigate the actions of Hawley and Republican Senator Ted Cruz to fully understand their role in the January 6th riot at the Capitol. A release from Hawley's office accused the Democrats of historic partisan abuse of the Senate ethics process. Hawley is asking the committee to investigate the Democrats and take any disciplinary action deemed appropriate. Authorities find a stolen car connected to a Sarkoxy, Missouri murder investigation, but they're still searching for a suspect. The car was found just outside of Bowling Green, Kentucky, but authorities are still trying to find a person of interest in the case, Justin Stevens of Coleman, Alabama. Authorities are looking for Stevens for questioning in connection to the death of Becky Sanders from Sarkoxy. She was found dead in her home on January 13th. And the city of Joplin is gearing up for public vaccine clinics. Assistant City Manager Dan Pekarik yesterday said that after discussion with the state, Joplin hopes to have vaccine very soon. He says there are around 35 providers in the area, including the Joplin Health Department, that will be providing vaccinations once the supply comes in. In the meantime, the city is planning public vaccine clinics. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Got some light flurries coming down outside the mothership right now as everybody hovers around the freezing mark. Day planner with sunrise at 7:25. Mostly cloudy, little sunshine this afternoon, but the northeast breeze going to keep those wind chills in the 20s for most of the day. Remember, the development happens this evening out to the west. It's not on us, the snow, until we get into late Tuesday, early Wednesday morning. Kick it through, max out about an inch of accumulation. Then we clear off, probably get a little afternoon sunshine tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Snow will stick around though until Thursday and Friday, and then jumping back up into the 50s. So probably won't have much on the ground here by the time we get to the weekend.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making crazy good rosemary chicken in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Of course, your morning news continues on KOAM. CBS Morning News coming up next.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues, and that's where we find our very own Jesse Irwin.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, we're going to be talking about ArtCon. The Osho Arts Council puts it on every year, and this year, they're going to do things virtually, but they're still having panels, still having contests, still having a lot of fun in celebration of the comic book world and films and more. So we'll have that over on Fox 14 for you coming up.
All right, my man, flip over. Join us over there. We'll continue to roll your Facebook comments and Insta poll results as well. That wraps it up for this Tuesday. I want you all to have a great, safe, wonderful day. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.